Hello and welcome to Talk About It Tuesday. We get together here, we talk about things. In today's video, we have Rod, who wants to talk to us about his AMPd Saturn Skies. These are Saturn Skies that were converted to electric by amped electric vehicles back around 2010 timeframe. Before we get started though, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already and fill out that Google form if you actually want to get on and talk about anything that you have going on. So let's begin.
I've got the black one that was pretty much was the prototype, and it had been stripped. So it had the two. Oh gosh, I should have better script. It had the two motors and the two controllers, but it was pretty archaic. Based off of this, and let's call it the Black Sky was the one that was the prototype, and then the Silver Sky is the one was actually running and driving to a point. So it had all the batteries out of it. It had an older BMS system that was pulled out. The connectors and the contactors, they were all kind of, screwed all over the place, but it was all there. And I actually haven't tested to the point where check and see if hooking up a computer and see if we can get the motors to actually with the controller and actually roll or to come on, which it's on my to-do list. So but then on the silver one, I'd already kind of promised my brother-in-law that once I get it up and running, that I was going to forward that, he's going to be able to get it. But and then in the meantime, then that I bought from the same company, a defunct company, and it looks like it might be defunct again. So the Lordstown, and got the Mercedes. And and both of them have similar issues, with them, where they'll run, but they have when it goes under a load, they seem to both have issues with going. But that's kind of right. I'm bouncing around a little bit. Maybe you need to direct me a little bit more on the conversation.
You're fine. This is the start of this entire new format here, so I
like your backdrop, though. I like that you got your wing, your Saturn back trunk lid on there.
I also have the seats and the piece that goes behind the seats over to the left here, and then the dash.
Okay, all right, okay. So, but then I think I told you. I think I'm going to get rid of the silver one, but I bought already a Tesla whole drive unit.
Large for my Model S, Model X.
I went with the rear motor and
that fits between the frame rails just fine.
Yeah, and I also had the aluminum framing that AMP had built. So I was actually looking where I might be able to put those two together where it will bolt right up.
How much have you actually looked into placement of where that motor needs to be?
That was one of the conversations I was going to have with you, because I think you're doing exactly the same thing, aren't you?
Yeah, I got a Model 3 motor. I just got it spinning actually not too long ago using EV controls. But
I got EV controls.
Have you even started hooking it up?
Oh, no, I haven't done. No.
Okay.
I'm in the accumulation stage on everything at this point.
So after you get it hooked up, reach out to EV controls and tell them, hey, I'm ready to program. Because if you try to do anything like even hitting the buttons, if they've got the server set up for somebody else's car or somebody else's motor, you're going to be trying to install the wrong software on your motor.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, okay. I didn't know that. I hit a few of the red buttons, and it took us about 3 weeks to get it all straightened out. So,
okay.
just forewarning on that.
Now, have you figured out how you're going to mount yours? All ironed out yet, or?
I haven't fully ironed it out, but I did kind of hang the motor up since, I don't have the top or anything. The gas tank and all that's been removed.
Okay.
So I have a big hole right there. So I was able to hang the motor in between the frame rails and everything. And I think the axles are too far aft for where the car currently sits.
Okay. All right.
At least with the suspension the way it currently is.
Okay. All right. Well, I was wondering, yeah, because I figured that you're going to be ahead of me on this. If ever I do get to it. But did you actually cut the mound out?
I did.
In the trunk. Okay. Because on mine, they left it on the Saturn. On the silver Saturn, they left it in there. I think that's where they put. I don't know what they have in there because I've never, opened it up. I just kind of took that little silver piece off, and it didn't show me anything. There was already a cover there. But I know my controllers are mounted. I think I sent you some of those pictures where they're actually to the motors. And where in the Mercedes, they're up underneath the Mercedes because there was a lot more room to put stuff. There's something in there, but I just don't know what they bought. And maybe it's all connectors and relays and some things where they've got it. So,
well, the picture that you sent me, I actually have it over here, kind of already pulled up. But the picture you sent me, it looks like it's tall enough that it would go up into that section.
Now, are you looking at the real old, the original, that's Parker Motors are the ones that were in the black one or the.
Yeah, hold on. See if I can't share the screen. This is the one I had.
More pictures. Yeah, that's the one that was out of the black one. So that's the prototype.
Okay.
Versus, I think I showed. Did I send you some pictures of the silver one where it's actually in the car? Yeah. So that's the silver underneath. So that's your motors. And up underneath that plate there is where the charger is, and radiator for the coolant.
Okay. Looks like they did a custom transmission tunnel mount or cover there too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it's similar to the one that was in the prototype, I think, but it's a little bit different. But that sheet metal that goes down underneath the belly of it, I mean, that's a big piece of aluminum. They just kind of drill holes and, to cover all the wires and stuff up. But part of what I'm having with is communication with it, because I'll hook up the USB, in the for the controls, where I'm trying to see what the motor's actually doing.
Yeah.
Anytime I do that and I try to drive it, it doesn't record data. In fact, sometimes it'll actually interfere with the car and it'll shut down. So this one tends to go into limp mode, where the Mercedes ones goes, if you try to put any juice to it, any power to it, when it's got a load on it, it kind of times out.
Okay.
I have it up on the lift and I hit the acceleration, it'll go like a banshee. So, that was, some of the issues. And I was a little bit disappointed in reaching out and getting some technical support from some of the vendors that were out there.
Right.
Once again, I think from the controls, those guys were more interested in, race car guys and people that were smarter than me. Like, they would talk to you, they wouldn't talk to me. But yeah, I got a little frustrated. It was like, this guy doesn't know what the heck he's talking about. So,
I feel the same way sometimes when I'm talking to them because I'm an avionics troop by trade. So
okay.
I'm doing a lot of this on the side, teaching myself. Like, want to actually go once I retire here in like 19 months and go work with Electrify Garage or something along those lines.
Kind of my partner. We've got most of the stuff in storage units right now. Now they're huge storage units. In fact, I bought a forklift, electric forklift. We got working and put a lift in there. So we've got a couple of those. And he works for Interdel, which is a battery manufacturer, but it's more industrial stuff. But he's lived and breathed electric cars for quite a few years, but he's just too busy. So, one thing I did have, and I think I might have reached out and told you this, one of my sensors, which of course are internal into the cape, the temperature sensors.
Right.
You activate it as soon as it goes past the pre-charge. One of the passenger motor is reading a much higher temperature than we know what's right, because as soon as we turn it on, we know it's 70 degrees outside and it's reading like 112. And so that we know is a possible issue, because as soon as that motor heats up any, then we think that that temperature is increasing. But it's just a calibration thing, maybe with that temperature sender.
It could also be the sensor itself, which, I mean, like, I think I told you on Facebook, the most I've done with temperature sensors is EGT sensors for jet engines.
Yeah.
And they do go bad. They're just usually extremely reliable, so they don't really go bad that often. The wiring could be chafed also.
See, now the thing that I was wondering, because it is antiquated equipment, it's on there. So, it's got those, computer controls, those boxes that are basically heavy industrial boxes.
Yeah.
That was one of my thoughts was, if I replace that with like a newer, updated control system, where maybe, this more sophisticated, it's got better electronics, than what they had back then. Because, when you get down to it, the motor is going to be the same if it was built in 1960 or today, and the way it works. The controllers, that controller is a really good controller from everything that I've ever heard anything about. And so my thought was, as well, maybe that programming that they used in those mica, trying to remember what they were called.
What voltage is the battery pack at?
I slept since then. I'm thinking it was like 320.
Okay.
319, something like that. Yeah, here you go.
Well, do you know how many are in series? Because they were lithium phosphate batteries. So
right. I don't. And I don't even have an accurate count, because the other one, the black one, it had about, from what I can figure, about 60 batteries that were the lithium, which was pretty much the same chemistry. It was a different manufacturer, I think, of those batteries that came with the black one versus the silver one. So I'm not real sure, what the pack. In fact, I've learned it and I've forgotten it on, how the 18S 6P, whatever, how many's in parallel, how many's in series. I'm thinking
Go ahead.
They were like maybe, I don't know, do they have a 3 series?
Well, they should be, if it's around what 300 or 320 at 3.2 volts, and you're looking around 100 batteries right there. But
So it would be 100 series 3P.
well, I'm looking at what you've sent me here, and they're all in series. There's nothing in parallel.
Okay. Okay. Did you get the email with the? Yeah,
because I'm actually not on my.
Oh, you're fine. They're called
account.
MIAC. Yeah, it's MIAC. So it's an old, antiquated. They're older, but it's got like relays in that box. But that's kind of the control system. I am interested, even though I haven't got to them, about how good these Parkers work, or versus the Dells or the Remis.
You said these were hooked up to the 12-volt system.
Yeah, that's pretty much, from what I understand, the controller, or not the controller, but maybe the like the EV controls, that system where it kind of puts everything together.
Yeah. So is the high voltage coming on the backside of that, or is this just straight hooked up to 12-volt system?
That's just 12-volt system.
Okay.
And then there's a small box, I think, where the high voltage is coming in, and then the DC to DC, you can see it on the battery pack. It's on the opposite side there.
Okay.
For the inverter.
I'm trying to figure out what I can from just the picture.
Well, we don't have to solve anything at this point in time. Like I said, I think the more information that I probably send to you, and because I'm on the verge of just seeing if I can reach out and find somebody that's local that can help diagnose. Because I don't think I'm at this point. I know the batteries have aged, and that can be an issue that I've got, but I know it's not from the degradation's from time, not from use.
Well, they under load. I mean, I was thinking about this a long time ago, like when we originally talked, was it's free spinning. Well, you have the car up in the air, right?
Right.
You're still not going to be pulling that many amps from the battery pack. And then when you put it on the ground, you're going to have to pull more amps to get it to operate what appeared to be the same. So there could be enough voltage sag because of the age of the batteries that is causing some of this. Also, with the age of the car, you don't really know, the history of the car beyond the point you got it. Right.
Well, yeah, the history that I know of is probably guys getting in it, doing burnouts, stopping, doing more burnouts because another guy wants to drive, that kind of. So that's kind of what I think the history is. Now, the Mercedes, which has got a similar problem, and really half the reason I bought that Mercedes was because I thought, well, maybe this would tell me something about the Saturn, and they really almost have the same problem, which kind of goes back to degradation maybe of the battery, like you're thinking.
Yeah. I mean,
but I gauge it.
See what?
I can't gauge what that is by hooking it up, to the controller, either the right side, and get an accurate reading, because it kills the car.
You might be able to hook up to the positive and negative side of the entire pack, and see the voltage drop whenever it's up in the air. And then if you can jury rig up something that it still allows you to look.
Okay. Yeah, just like put the cable up on the top of the car and then drive it and see what.
That might give you at least like enough idea of what your voltage slag is doing or what it's doing, uh, voltage drop, um, underload versus not underload, because you may throw it up on the lift and it doesn't voltage drop that much. I mean, they just certain things about what you've said. It just kind of seems like it might be the battery pack. It also might be chafed wiring someplace that they probably shouldn't have routed the wiring. Uh, but then again, I mean, it could be that I mean, it is a 2008, 2009 build, roughly.
Mhm.
And that was still it's that's still on the side of what the DIY car forums are doing right now with all their stuff.
Right. Yeah. No.
Some of
Well,
the stuff.
and I don't have any issue. Now, my brother-in-law might, but you know, throwing. I mean, I guess that's the question. Is heck, I'd take the hood off and just put a newer battery pack. You know, that doesn't have to have just something that'll give me.
Yeah.
Actually, I've got a Think battery pack that I could almost hook up a couple of those modules and strap them on top of it and see if I get the same results. Your idea is a little easier to do, but to get a gauge on it. But no, and it's getting to be that weather here in Indianapolis that I can do, start doing some of that stuff. It gets a little bit cold in those storage units trying to do much and get an accurate feel, especially when it's 30 degrees outside and trying to figure out what your batteries are doing. So, so you kind of really believe besides, and I don't think there's really any chafing of any of the, I did kind of think that maybe there was an issue with maybe the accelerator pedal. Because if I'm not mistaken, didn't Skies have some issues with their?
If they did, it was long before I got mine.
Okay. And maybe I was reading about something else that was having an issue with them, and maybe it was the ones with some of these people were using, like the Tesla pedal versus, because these, I think, as far as I can tell, they're the electronic pedal from Saturn that they incorporated into it.
So that's still a GM part spin part. So I mean, you could try it. I really don't know, but you did bring something up that I probably should warn you about because I failed at this too. EV controls, wiring diagram, instructions, and all that does not specify which pedal you should use. And being that you're using,
I did buy a pedal.
Which one did you get?
It's been here again. I'm in the accumulation. I can't remember offhand. I've got it downstairs. I could grab it.
Well, if you remember that it's a model. So what?
I said, just tell me which one's the bad one not to use.
Don't use the Model S or X.
I think I got a 3.
That's the one you need. Because I was originally.
Why I did is just because I knew I had a Model 3 engine and it made sense that with the inverter. In fact, I think I got the brake pedal and the accelerator pedal from the Model 3.
Okay, because I was originally going with the Model S setup.
Okay.
I had the Model S pedal and the brake switch for the Model S, and I wired them up per the diagrams, and did not work. I actually burned the one of the switches on the brake pedal. So.
Oh, really? Well, that's fun. So, are you using the Tesla battery pack?
No, I have a Chevy Volt battery pack.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I want to get a Bolt battery pack and throw it in there, but finances.
I know what you mean. And which brings up a point. Now, I don't know. I know you're a busy man, but I was halfway even thinking at one point in time of delivering this Saturn down to you.
I wouldn't.
If you wanted to play with it for some money, I would pay you, for your time. But then I thought it would be a nice thing for you, seeing this, because I knew that you were the Saturns, and so that was that was a thing I had, because I have so many different honeydews. I've got a place up in, I've got kids all over the place, and they all want Dad to come up and do stuff. So I do a little bit of everything, and so my hobbies kind of go to the wayside. And this hobby's been 3 years new, and when I jump in like 100%. Well, I've got all of these electric cars and all these. I've watched the Damien McGuire stuff, and I've got my old thing that I'm going to take my engine out of it, and I'm going to, I want to convert it to electric using the 450 Lexus transmission. And so I've got all of that stuff. I've done the inverters. So I've got all of this stuff where it's up in the racks, now at the storage unit. It's like, I got to start getting some of this stuff done, but anyway.
I would definitely. I was actually going to ask you, after the weather was getting better, if I could come up and take a look.
You can do that too. Yeah.
Because as of right now, I don't have a place to put this. If you were to have shipped it down here, because of where my car's sitting.
Gotcha. No. In fact, you've bounced yours around a couple times, haven't you? Didn't you move it from one? Just moved.
We moved in 2020 down here to Tampa.
Okay.
And that was before I cut the suspension and all that, and before COVID hit. And I started buying parts and everything. So I moved it to the center of my garage, got it up in the air, and cut the suspension out, and then ran across that bad P90D motor.
But how much power do you need in these little things, really?
I need all the power.
You're a racing guy, yeah. Okay. I'm getting older, so I don't need to do that anymore. So if I can spin the tires, I'm happy. But it's like, but no, if you would have come up here, and if the car would, if you wanted me to ship it down, I would be more than happy to do that as well. I know it wouldn't set in your garage, but then you couldn't really work on it either, if you have no garage space. But
I could work on it, but it would be in my driveway, and right now I have a small driveway, and I actually have a kid on the way. So
yeah, I saw that. Yeah, congrats. Yeah, you froze up after we talked about babies.
Yeah, that's pretty much telling me I need to do something here.
Like no, because I figured that was going to keep you. That's going to keep you busy here for a little while.
Oh, it is. Luckily, I've got quite a bit of time saved up from the military, and also they give us the paternity leave, 42 days of that, something like that. I think it's like 42 now, but. Yeah, I'm retiring here next November, and I've got to start burning leave before I can even retire. So I've got plenty of time. I can come up and take a look at that.
Well, that's good. That's good. Well, hey, thanks for your service. No, you just name the time.
Okay.
You want to come here? We've got a big house here. I'll even put you up here if you want to stay a couple days. So, yeah, I think that would be. Something great. I don't know when you were thinking, but I might even try to do what you suggested here in the next week or so. And then I'll give you some feedback on trying to see what the load is on that. See, and what, and that Mercedes, when I first got it, that was the issue.
Yeah.
So EMS was not allowing it to charge up all the way. So, and I can't remember if I updated you on this, but I ended up hooking up a, I think it was a 200 volts. It was capable of doing more than 36 volt charging
Right.
supply. So I had a power supply that my buddy had, so we hooked it up and we were going directly. And after about 10 minutes of charging, the BMS would start flashing. We'd have to unhook it and put it back up. So I kept doing that until we got the voltage on the battery pack all the way up. But that was happening with that one is that you would plug it in to charge it. The BMS would actually, or the car, something with the controller would time out. And it would no longer let the charge go through. Now, I don't know if that was the problem with the charger, if that was the problem with the BMS, if it was charger. And that was the other issue I had, is that I actually had support trying to hook up the BMS to the computer to try to get some semblance of what it was doing. And that was, so I was having data connection. I used my new computer. I used an old computer. And so that's been my problem. Is like if I could get the data and the feedback from this stuff, I think it would give me some answers. But that's where it's kind of stopping me. I can, and I'll send you some of the videos I made when I was trying to do when I was getting some data, where it would show actually taking a video of what was going on my screen, on the computer. So, and I'll try to keep them separate of the two cars. So, but
if you want, I sent you the Dropbox or the Google Drive.
Okay.
I made you an editor on that, so you should be able to just drop everything in there.
Okay, perfect. Yep, got it.
Yep.
Yeah, you share it with me. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much everything, and I'll try to separate them into files. Where I'll put, the Mercedes versus the Saturns, the Skies. Because it's such a shame, because all that weight in that car, though, it sets so daggone low when you load it all in there. And they even add, well, they supposedly did, based off of the literature when they were doing it, they had upgraded springs that in there to carry the extra weight. But it still sets about an inch lower than the regular Skies do.
Okay.
Nice.
I don't want to get my car any lower, but it's already pretty low as is, especially with the hard top.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was one. And actually, because I think I told you I had another Sky that I bought for parts that was a flood vehicle.
Okay.
And because the silver one that you saw the pictures of, the hood was wrecked and the front end was damaged. So I bought a flood vehicle of the same year, same color. So I put that actually on the silver one and fixed it all up. Well, after a while, I got the flood vehicle running good, and I got all the error codes out of it. So then I ended up buying some parts for it, and I just put it back together, and I wrapped it, and now I was kind of driving it around a little bit too. So I've got 3 Saturn Skies.
I just got my one over here.
Different arrays and stuff. That's why I say I've got more stuff than I know what to do with. So, and I'm not bragging about it. I'm more complaining than
I've got
finish a project.
Got technically 3 electric motors in my garage right now. Model 3, Model S, and then an HVH 250, which those motors that we're in were based off of the HVH. So,
definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, what I've got in there is definitely, that. And like I said, when you first reached out, you go, well, yeah, you seem to know all you need to know about that motor. So that's the reason I think that it's probably not that difficult. It's just something that somebody knows what they're doing, can figure it out.
Well, yeah, I know I've like had several discussions with the guys at Electrify Garage over the last few months. Actually, I need to reach out back to them. That they might actually be able to help too.
How big is their place?
What 5-6 bays is the one in Ocala. I think the smallest one's up in New Hampshire. I really don't know about Miami, but they are doing EV conversions for just about everybody on top of doing EV repairs. My Model S, the screen, the driver's screen is leaking fluid out right now. So I would get it fixed by them, but I'm going to go ahead and get the MCU2 upgrade for my Model S.
Okay.
That's who I actually take my car to more than Tesla because their prices are cheaper.
Okay. All right. Well, I haven't experienced anything yet. You know,
Well, my car is also older than yours by 3 years.
you know, and for some reason I was thinking you had a 3. Did your dad get a 3? No, your dad's got the. He's got the Volt or Bolt. He's got the Volt.
He's got the Bolt now. He had the Spark.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he bought the Spark. I tried to talk him not. I tried really hard to talk him into just going ahead and getting a Bolt, and he wanted to argue with me over it, and ended up getting the Bolt anyway. Like not even 8 months later, he picked up the Bolt. It's like,
oh well. Well, like I said, maybe there is something with. How many places Electrified have? Are they growing and growing? They're trying to eat up people or bring them in.
They're trying. Well, they grew pretty rapidly there right at the start of the pandemic, and since then they haven't really grown. There might be that possibility that they would want to grow west. I mean, they're centrally located in Ocala between Jacksonville, Gainesville, Orlando, Tampa, and all that. Because there is a huge population of Teslas down here. I have honestly never seen so many Teslas, and I've gone quite a few places other than California. I mean, obviously California adoption rate's crazy out there, but
yeah. No, I tried to get my daughter to. She ended up getting a Pacifica hybrid, but at least she went halfway or plug-in hybrid. So yeah. I was like, nope, just get a Tesla. You're gonna anything electric, yeah. But yeah, no, because mine is the more people are starting to adapt to them, the more they're going to be better for everybody, and especially with the classic cars or the old cars where you can do the conversions. But it's just like I know there for a while. If you saw one that was on eBay, they were cheap. I mean, some of the old versions, nobody wanted anything to do with them. And well, I got mine cheap. I mean, so for what they were, I mean, it was stupidly cheap. That was the reason why I have them sitting.
Well, I mean, factoring in the original purchase price of the Sky and the conversion price, it was half the cost of a Tesla Roadster, and you got 50 miles less of range by their stats. I don't know if you actually got that. But by the stats, 50 miles less, and like, what was it, 2 seconds slower, 0 to 60?
Yeah.
Like, it in reality, for what you got, it was not a bad vehicle.
Oh yeah, no. I think did I tell you that there's supposedly some trucks that they did that should be coming up for sale. Not the Lordstown ones, but some that they did for AMP. That it was never sold to even thought about getting sold to the public. I think they were trying to use them for, maybe either prototypes or, but I think that was towards the end when they were getting ready to
become workhorse.
Yes.
A little bit of what I was finding when I was writing the script for the video was they came up with these prototypes, and the what company was it? I put it in here. put it in my script. I think. Yeah, whatever company that they were trying, Navistar.
Navistar. Okay, yeah.
Navistar management changed and then wanted to take their company in a different direction. Like that's what I was finding when it came to that. So they ended up buying, according to what I was seeing, they ended up buying the Workhorse group and then just pretty much changed their name to Workhorse is what I saw.
Right. Yeah. And then I think the brothers split up, or there was some separation where one brother went somewhere, and it was really weird because when I contacted the one brother, the younger brother, which was kind of the service tech, he was like really excited about telling me about it. Then as soon as he found that I had bought it and I wanted some information about it, he just shut right down. So because it was all
proprietary.
There you go.
Yeah.
Some of those words I can't ever say.
I'm right there with you.
So yeah, it was really funny. But then I think I told you I reached out because this car was actually titled and put in the name of a ex. He wasn't the CEO, but he was. I think he was the CEO at one point. Joseph Passeri. But
sounds familiar.
But he was in. That was where I found his because it was on the title of this car, and so I had to reach out to get it switched over because they tried to put in other people's names, and it, like I said, the title really got screwed up.
Yeah.
Once I talked to the guy, he's basically a security director. That's what he's done most of his life. But he was with them for like 2 or 3 years, and he goes, when they put the car together for him and they were building it, the reason they bought it back from him is because it wasn't safe to drive. That's the reason why this car is still sitting today. That's what he told me. So I found that out afterwards. So my thought was that it had to be the reason why it wasn't safe was probably because of the faults or the issues they were having maybe with the controllers.
Okay.
That I could, which might be that MIAC kind of stuff, because there's nothing in there that can't be overcome with, especially with today's technology, I would think.
No, like honestly, your BMS could probably be updated. Like the controllers for the motors could be updated. I mean, for me, that would be figuring out how to get the dual motor setup operating correctly.
Well, I've got I've got 2 Reinhardts, the controllers for each motor, and they're made for each other, And in fact, when I was talking to their tech guy on trying to get some information from him, I asked him, I said, hey, it just kind of came to him. I said, if I got rid of these MIACs and put an updated controller, I said, and they even have a controller for those controls. And I said, well, could I use that? And I said, this is what I've got. And I gave him a list of my BMS, my controllers. He goes, well, the only thing that really will work with it is just the controller. So he just kind of shut me down instead of trying to say, but if you wanted to do something, you go here, or here, or here. But he didn't. He just kind of said, no, our stuff won't work with that. So with the charging, with the charger, with the BMS, the inverter, I mean, it's just a Delphi. I don't know why it wouldn't work with the, even needs to control, their controller needs to control that. I don't know if you've looked at the hard controllers or not, but
no. But
I thought that was one of the things that might be an easier fix because everything's kind of, right there, and you rewire, do some wiring, and it's a fuse panel, and
well, I mean, the Reinhardts, I've looked very little into the Reinhardt controllers when I had the HVH motor, and that's the reason why I actually went away from trying to use the HVH motor in the Sky, was, what was it,
Really?
roughly 11,000 for
Oh yeah,
the Reinhardt, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'll go to the LS swap, for EVs.
I've got 4 of those controllers, babe. I've got 6. So,
Wow.
so um, but that was the thing was kind of disappointing to me was just this was made for it. And in fact, if you ever consider needing one of those, we could definitely work something out because that's what's sitting on those Parkers.
Okay.
And that's pretty much a whole system from what I can see. Here again, but when I first was looking at this, I started piecing everything together. I'm going, man, they spent some money, and they said they'd spent a whole lot, 70,000 or whatever the stupid number was, developing that car. And it's like, well, back then I could see that. So, I mean, even that I could see that. But yeah. But now, yeah, it's Cascadia. It's not Reinhardt, but it's Cascadia is the controllers and the people I was talking about. But
which is now owned by, who is it? Because
did they just sell again or merge with somebody else?
they were sold to another well-known company. And it's not AEM, which is also Holly now.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Holly, well, that's pretty smart, actually.
I mean, AEM now has a bunch of EV conversion stuff too, but I'm trying to think who it was that bought Cascadia, because they're actually under somebody else. They did our entire UTV, ATV type thing.
Is it Motion, or is it just is it called Cascadia Motion, or is it Motion that might have?
I can look here because I know they got bought, and it's another well-known company that works with other manufacturers.
Yeah, because AEM was actually one of them that I was researching on using when I came up with that controller idea. I said, well, maybe they had to have something that would interface what I have.
Let's see. Yep, I like AEM. I got really Borg Warner. That's who bought them.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Nope. Yeah. Now that you say that.
Yeah. I knew it was something. I just couldn't remember who. But yeah. And now I forgot what I was about to say before that.
Oh, we're just talking about we're about the controllers and being able to interface some of the stuff that we've got.
Yeah, I had going back to I had their Tesla large drive unit card on pre-order for months, and every time I'd reach out to them, it'll be available next month. I finally got fed up, and that's where I went with the EV controls.
That was AEM.
Yeah. They're advertising like it's out, ready to go, like on Instagram, on their website, everything. But yet, if you were to actually try to go buy it, it was pre-order.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So I got a little frustrated over that.
There was one that was what Poly
Cup.
Yeah. I saw a few of those. I just didn't. They might have been all right, but I didn't like something. There was a couple things I didn't like about. I think I maybe caught some reviews that weren't the greatest, and
some of the feedback I've heard from other people that have dealt with the individual behind Polycup wasn't really great. That's one reason I was kind of steered away from them. But I know Rich Rebuilds has kind of worked with them. I know Electrify Garage has kind of worked with them. I haven't gotten feedback on their opinion. Salvage to Savage did that C10 for SEMA last year.
Oh,
They did a polycup display in their truck. I haven't really talked to them about that, but
yeah.
it's on their YouTube of them installing it, and they're bragging about it on the video. But it's YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, really. Well, like I said, it seemed like this one, and it also seems like it's all software driven. It's like a lot of this stuff that as you get it in, if it's working, that they can do updates and upgrades just like your Teslas can, as long as they're supporting it.
Well, that's something that I was interested in with the Polycup, is that one integrated display where I could have my maps up, I could have whatever,
Yeah.
and still have my speed and all that. I don't have to rely on this iPad mini that I have over here for
I was
my
going to ask you
display.
what you were using. You bought a mini. I got one too.
Yeah, I bought a mini.
Yeah, mine's sitting upstairs, in my closet. So and a couple magnet holders, to set it in place. But then I was sitting there looking at. Have you looked at the Android? Will it interface with any of the Android stuff at this point in time? Because I was looking at some of those Android, where you can get a good size screen if it would,
That's the thing. If you have a Bluetooth reader that will pull off speed and all that, so you just need a display that can pull OBD2 speed information, or not just speed, but from your Orion BMS if you're using Orion. So you only need something that can pull the information off of the CAN bus.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about a display, I can go out and buy the AEM Carbon 7 display and put that in my dash, as long as I program it correctly to pull the information from the Orion BMS and the Tesla drive unit. It should be good on that, but the Speedo I'm probably going to use for GPS.
Yeah, they're more accurate anyway, so I think.
There's a little bit of lag in most of the ones I've seen.
Oh, are they? Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't use it too much. I was using my Mustang that I redid. I changed the transmission and I didn't have it calibrated right, and so I was testing it. So I've got an app on my phone that I was using most of the time. But yeah.
Well, if you're accelerating and decelerating pretty fast, there's just a slight lag with the actual change, compared to seeing it instantly on the dash from, transmission pickup.
Well, I think there's something we can do here, Tony. Especially, I don't know, you're going to be too far into it. You're not going to need. Are you going to be interested in any of those old Reinhardt controllers, or?
Not for this project. I have about 5 more EV projects that I want to do.
Yeah.
It's just, I need to get my YouTube channel up and running and making money to kind of pull in a little bit of extra cash to do all that.
Well, I hope it. I really do. I think you could. You've got enough passion for it. I think you could do some stuff, and it sounds like you've got enough connections. I think you can start interviewing. I'm going to be. I'm not going to add too many counts to it, but maybe some of the people you get. Have you got much more response since you sent out that?
The form? No, that was more of a, one of the organizations within AFWorks was, oh, we've got this Google form, but we don't know how to get notified whenever it's been filled out. And I'm like, there's got to be something super simple. So I went into my own personal account, set it up, and I posted it there just as a, hey, I've been working on this, because my current supervisor, I don't work with him. I am with an entirely different part of the Air Force. My current supervisor has no purview of what I'm doing on a daily.
Okay.
Because I'm working from home.
Yeah.
So I haven't put on my uniform in probably about a month and a half. Which is nice.
Really?
But So I kind of threw that up on my Facebook since my supervisor's there. And I didn't expect anybody to fill it out. Like, you filled it out, and I was like, really awesome. Like,
Part of that was guilt. Was that, we've talked a couple times. I've been on, with you and your dad, and the little group there, and it's just like I never really reach out on anything. So when that came up and I saw it, I'm going, I'm responding to this. So yeah, I'm still alive, still out there. So.
Well, I appreciate you for filling out that form and everything, reaching out. This channel is definitely changing because, I mean, in all honesty, I've gotten super depressed with trying to do this EV conversion,
Yeah.
working on active duty pay and making screw ups like with the P90D or
Sure.
P100D motor and everything. Like, it's just one of those, like, I fix it, or I make that mess up, spend months trying to fix it, and then I'm just kind of in that cycle of I'm not producing any videos because nothing going on that I can.
Yeah, right. There's no updates.
Yeah. So
no,
that's what the drive was, to change it to this kind of format. So,
well, and I said, I think if you can reach out and you get other people that are in, maybe from some of the DIY forums that will communicate with you, because I really am more of a lurker,
yeah.
Than I am, I hate typing. I'm not much with doing some of this stuff. I would never edit, so it's just like, I'll participate and I'll be totally involved. It's just, I'm not. It would take me all day to write up, a 3 or 4 paragraph stuff, or some of the stuff.
I try to write emails.
I put the Saturn on Damien's, not Damien's site, but the what is that website? Where they've got a lot of their support.
Open Inverter.
Open Inverter. So I actually did my build. I did the Saturn on there, and I was going to get some response off of it, and it just died. I didn't get I don't know if I really reached out and asked for too much, but some of those guys are just way too smart for me. And that was, plus I'm doing something that was different. Yeah.
That's a Tesla charger.
Oh, that's a Tesla charger? Okay.
Yeah. Tesla charger board that they sell.
Well, see, I've got 2 of the Prism inverters. I've got one that's for the single motor. I've got one for the dual motor, because I was thinking that I was going to control those 2 motors with that one inverter controller that on the Saturn that went a different way. I still could, but and then I bought the one for the 450H zombie inverter. So I've got that. I still need to do some soldering and stuff, but
yeah, well, I screwed up the soldering on the data connection that goes here.
Yes.
Yeah, I bent the pins and had them touching and everything. The board would fire up. The Wi-Fi module would work fine, but you plug in the J1772 and it just wouldn't do anything. And then I got my magnifying glass out and saw that it did that, and I'm like, all right, well, what to do next?
Yeah, I think I burnt one of them up, but I learned how to solder from that. I think if we could solder off these things, it's like, yeah.
Well, I know how to solder. I've never micro soldered, and this was my first attempt.
I was really surprised, because I went out to 2 phone companies, that fix some of the stuff, and I showed them the board, and they go, no, it's too small. We can't do that. And I'm going, really? So,
wow.
Yeah, well, it was a chore. I appreciate being your first guy on. So,
no, I appreciate this, because I mean, the Sky's a pretty awesome. A lot of people don't even know it exists. That's
I think I told you. I think one of the funny things is that my wife's a little bit. She doesn't know cars that well, but she's kind of biased about stuff. So when they they'd been out for a while, and she would say, "Oh, I like that car." You know, it's usually a Ferrari, or it's something that's really expensive or whatever. And she kept on always seeing the Saturn Sky, and every time she saw it, she liked it. I go, "Well, that's a Saturn." She goes, "Oh."
I get that a lot.
It was okay, but it was a Saturn. It was a Saturn. But yeah, but now she likes them. But it was funny for before. She was like,
Wow.
"You're rude." It's like, but they are a fun car. They're a great car.
Yeah.
We need to get some of these electrified and get them down the road.
Yes, definitely.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
Tony, I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you. And
All right, man. Have a good day. All right.
you too.
See ya.